A lot of people are nervous about doing locums because when you go into a, W-2 job, everything is set up for you. But once you get your business set up, it's really on cruise control. You just have to hire smart people to help you manage some of the difficult tasks in terms of accounting. I know a lot of people get scared when it comes to the taxes, but you just have to create the strategy to protect yourself from that standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to take vacations when I want to, the balance, being able to avoid burnout. This is like the perfect way to do that. I plan my vacations first. I plan all my doctor's appointments. I plan all my son's events. Wednesdays are his swim lessons days. Tuesdays are soccer days. I don't work any of those days. And so I'm able to prioritize my family, and I'm able to prioritize me and my health, my mental health. I'm much more happier practicing as a locum and having more control over my life and my schedule.
So excited. Welcome to the Savvy Doc Show. I'm really glad that you're here with us today. Today, I am going to be speaking with Dr. Jamila Goldsmith. Dr. Jamila is an ER doc who has turned it up with the locums life, okay? Now, if you know anything about medicine, you know that sometimes people are trying to find their way out of medicine or whatnot, but sometimes what you got, if you could only do it in a strategic way, you can actually max out your earning power by simply being a little flexible in how you do your work, right? So Dr. Jamila here shows us how she's been able to, even as a mom, pick up the locums life and now begin to basically earn on her terms. She's able to work around her kid's schedule, choose the day she wants to work. You're going to love the conversation that I had with her. It was a part of the Multiple Streams of Income Summit that we held on the Women Physicians for Multiple Streams of Income Facebook group. You can feel free to join us if you are a woman and a physician, but you just have to listen to this and we'll get right into it.
So, hi everyone. I'm so glad to be here to be able to share my story with you, and hopefully, any of you who are interested. I love helping doctors figure out how to navigate locums. I am board certified in emergency medicine. I trained at the University of Chicago. And before I got into locums, I was considering all the typical in the box things, whether I would do a fellowship, whether I would take an academic job, whether I would take a community job, but nothing felt right. So I was fortunate to be able to talk to some other physicians who had, uh, some of them had started right out of residency with, big jobs, and shortly thereafter, their groups were sold, and the deal wasn't the same deal that they signed up for. And so their recommendation to me was like, "Hey, Jamila, don't even waste your time. Go ahead, try locum, see how you like it." I talked to some other seasoned physicians who were practicing locums, and it seemed like the perfect way for me to figure out who I was as a doctor and maybe figure out what kind of full-time job I would want to take. I was only supposed to do it for 1 year to figure it out. And then it turned into my full-time job in itself. And so I absolutely love what I do. Majority of my career, I have practiced locums. I started straight out of residency. There was a short period where I took a full-time job during the pandemic. And I will say that I couldn't get out of that job fast enough. So I I understand the challenges that physicians face. Number one, coming straight out of residency, being a new doc, trying to go into something outside the box. And I also understand the challenges that doctors face when you're in a job where everything is being handed to you in terms of your schedule, your benefits, and how difficult it is to transition from a full-time W-2 job into doing, full-time independent contracting as a locums physician.
Yeah. Um, so let's even back up for a second, okay? And part of me, if this sounds like a very simple question, because most of us hear the word locums and we're like, oh yeah, of course, locums, right? But just in case, I don't like to assume that everybody understands exactly what we're talking about. Just in case there's somebody here who's like, what the heck is locums? Can you explain what you mean by locums?
Yes. So locums means, like, it's a Latin term for standing in, to substitute. And so essentially what I do and what other physicians do who practice locums is they are helping to fill in a need for various hospitals, people who are understaffed in undesirable locations, just any hospital or group who is having difficulty being fully staffed. And sometimes it could be, someone has left for maternity leave, or, someone has transitioned out of a job. Essentially, we're there to help relieve the stress and strain on the full-time staff.
Okay. And so the result then is that you are working at a place for like days and weeks at a time. What's your typical gig like?
So it varies by specialty, but as an emergency medicine physician, what I love about locums is I'm able to tailor my schedule to what I need. I'm a mother of a 3-year-old little boy, and one of the things that I found very challenging as a mom in a full-time job was that I was always negotiating my time and missing out on things. And so I didn't like that. I wanted to be there for everything. I hated going to work while he's sleeping, coming home and he's getting ready to go to bed. And so one of the things I absolutely love about locums is being able to make my own schedule. So for me, I don't like to do more than 3 or 4 shifts straight. A lot of people think that you have to leave for some extended period of time, but really it's up to you. You choose how you want to dictate your schedule. And I usually work 2 weekends a month, and that's equivalent to about the same income I was making in the full-time job, working like uh, 12 to 15 shifts a month. So I work about 8 to 10 regularly per month.
So now you're down to 8 to 10 shifts a month, but you're able to still make the same amount that you were making working like the full
And some.
and
I think
some.
I
Okay.
think I make more money than I definitely make more money than I did as a full-time physician. And add on top of that, I was a medical director. So I was not only practicing as an ER doctor, but I was also associate medical director. And I was looking at my paycheck and I'm like, wait a minute, the math is not mathing. I made so much more
Mhm.
money, when I was working for myself. And although it seemed like that would be the natural transition into, administration, since I had run my own business, the money just was a major setback. And in addition to having some of the freedom with my schedule and my time.
Now, of everyone listening right now, is there have either of you or any of you considered doing locums? If you've ever considered going into locums, type a, I don't know, a 5 in the chat. I forget what number we're on now. If you've ever considered locums, type a 5 in the chat. Okay, I'm seeing Dr.
Yes,
Marmy,
two
Denise. Okay, you
people.
said I have. Okay, okay. So if you have actually done locums, type a 6 in the chat. Let me know who's here that has actually done locums so far. Okay, okay. So we have a few people now. So so what if you were to kind of itemize the perks, and you kind of mentioned it as you were talking, but compared to having that stable, right, stable W-2 job, what would you say are some discrete perks of doing locums versus, being in W-2?
Well, definitely, the tax shelter, being
The
able
tax
to
shelter.
take more money. I max out my 401k as an employer and an employee. The tax write-offs as well. It's, from that standpoint, working with a good CPA, you can definitely save more money. My company is set up as a LLC with S Corp status. And so I'm able to take a lot of my money home, thankfully,
Mhm.
and have a good retirement plan set up. A lot of people are nervous about doing locums because when you go into a W-2 job, everything is set up for you. But once you get your business set up, it's really in cruise control.
Mhm.
You just have to hire smart people to help you manage some of the difficult tasks in terms of accounting. I know a lot of people get scared when it comes to the taxes, but you just have to create the strategy to protect yourself from that standpoint. I mentioned the scheduling, being
Mhm.
able to take vacations when I want to, the balance, being able to avoid burnout. This is like the perfect way to do that. I plan my vacations first. I plan all my doctor's appointments. I plan all my son's events. Wednesdays are his swim lessons days. Tuesdays are soccer days. I don't work any of those days. And so I'm able to prioritize my family and I'm able to prioritize me and my health, my mental health. So I'm much more happier practicing as a locum and having more control over my life and my schedule.
Mm.
Just, and being a boss, like not having, to negotiate your time. And I know it sounds selfish when you think about we're used to being team players. We're used to, helping, your fellow colleague out and working a string of shifts so that you can take time off. But I don't have to do that. I'm able to help out some docs if they need me to cover a shift, but I can be selfish with my time and my family. So I see in the comments, definitely the travel
The
perks,
travel
absolutely.
perks.
The travel perks, because all of the travel is covered by the company. I get to accumulate all the points for hotels. I fly strictly Delta. And so those points are helpful when it comes to planning family vacations. I just came back from Thailand with my son. Last year, we went to Australia. So being able to benefit off of like the credit card perks, the points, I'm Diamond Hilton, I'm Platinum, Lifetime Platinum Elite Marriott. So there's ways to also accumulate or help travel for your family for personal things. So
Yeah. So one obvious, should I say obvious, or one reason that I find that a lot of people sort of like hold back from locums becomes the fact that you're away from home. You have to be away from home. How do you navigate that piece of traveling, maybe being away for a few days at a time? And I would dare even ask, if you have younger kids, how have people that navigated that piece?
I think key is your support system, and creating those boundaries that work for you.
Mm,
In terms of how I navigate my schedule, I'm blessed to have my mother is at home full time with my son when I'm traveling. I'm not gone more than 4 days each string of shifts, and only
okay.
2 weekends a month. Majority of the time, I'm at home with my son. I'm present with everything that's going on in my home. Some of the other things that are helpful is creating. A lot of people think that when you do locums and you work locally, that's a better way to do things. Like if I'm driving 3-4 hours, but I'm in the same state, that somehow makes it more easy. But I find that when I work locally, that I'm more drained and I'm more tired. So when I look at my schedule, and I look at where I want to go, if I can take a quick direct flight that's 45 minutes to an hour, and I can work a night shift, I can fly out that day. I can take my son to school. And then when I fly back, I can pick him up. And like today, we had soccer. I came in this morning. Believe it or not, I got off work at 6 a.m. and I've been going since. But I can take him to soccer practice. I can, continue with the day. And so you have to think about what works for you. A lot of people don't like to do night shifts, but for me, it works because I can spend more time at home versus spending a whole day in a hotel. And
Mm,
I'm not tired from the 3-4 hour drive because I sleep on the plane. So I
mm,
think creating different scenarios that work for you, and it depends on where you are geographically. I'm based in Atlanta, so I can catch a quick flight anywhere.
okay.
Chicago before Atlanta was easy to get around. So it just varies on your individual situation, and definitely there are strategies to help figure out what's the best way for you to do locum, especially if you're a mom and have small children.
Now, what you just said actually, because I heard you say initially that you avoid working on Tuesdays, and I was like, how is she able to do that? And then you said, well, I work 4 days at a time, and I was like, of course, that makes absolute sense. So you're available on Tuesday. You could maybe travel, and this is just me now creating your schedule. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you're back at home on Sunday. You still get to hang with the family. You're there Sunday, Monday. The kid is has soccer on Tuesday. Makes so much sense.
Yeah.
So much
And
sense.
usually this is actually a rare case that end on Monday. If anybody knows, Mondays in the ER are terrible. But someone needed the day, but normally I leave Thursday, and I work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I'm usually coming home Monday morning.
So just to put this into numbers for people, because I find that for some people, they hear everything, but until they hear the numbers, they don't actually like hear you very well. Okay. So, for example, this is, and to the extent that you're comfortable, okay, what are what kinds of rates are you seeing, let's say per hour, or let's say like on the weekends, or any kind of like specialty pricing or something like that, that you think those who are considering this should kind of just hear, even as they're thinking about this?
So I know I have some of my EM colleagues in the room, and,
Mhm.
and everybody is able to negotiate at a different level, and it depends on, what you're able to tolerate on a job. Okay. So I came out of residency in 2016. I still have some of the same contracts. I just haven't renegotiated, but I don't do absolutely nothing under 300, and that's very low.
Hmm.
Now we're seeing rates up to 450 per hour. And that doesn't include if you're doing a bonus. I think I worked a shift last week and it was, around 500 per hour when you add the bonus money in. Because it's tax season.
Yeah.
I grossed nearly $500,000, 500K last year from locums, and that's not working a full schedule as if I was, a full-time employee. So there's definitely benefits, and especially if you're, if you understand what the market value is and you don't let these companies take advantage of you, you
Hmm.
can definitely max out on your income as a locums
Yeah.
doctor.
So someone is asking,
Somebody said with specialty emergency
yeah,
medicine.
emergency medicine. And as you're listening to this, okay, I would like to just sort of like throw this in here, because very often when we get into this space and we start talking about these things, usually what happens here is the peds person will always say, "Oh, we never make that much. It always happens, invariably, right?" And then, the other specialty will say, "Oh, well, it's because you are X specialty." And the point of me asking her for these numbers is not to it's basically to just help you, just like unpop your ears, so that you now know that somebody somewhere is making this amount of money. So now let me go find what is possible in my own field. I'll give you just a real quick example right here. Just a year and a half ago, I found a colleague of mine at the Kumon, my kids, whatever thing that they were doing. And I just happened to ask him, "How much do you guys get paid over there?" Because doctors don't talk money, right? And he was like, "Oh, 500,000." I was like, wait, 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 what? Now, at the time, at my job, they were paying about 300. Okay. And he was at a job less than 30 minutes from where we were standing, making five. If I hadn't heard that, I'd have been comfortable, just nice and happy, showing up saying, "You know what, you know, Dr. Fowler, or whatever, enjoying myself." So yeah, go ahead.
But then again, women are we know that we under negotiate. We are
Yes.
like, we're known for not knowing our worth and accepting less. And so whenever I'm in a situation when I'm negotiating bonuses or my hourly rates, I always go above what I want to say. Because I
Mm-hmm.
always want to go a little bit higher because I know they're going to take me down. And sometimes I still get caught up under negotiating, but I always, I'm not afraid to hear no. I'm always going to ask for a higher value than I feel comfortable with saying. Definitely, uh, I see in the chat, know your worth and
Yeah.
add tax
And add and
and
add.
add tax.
All right. So now let's get into the part of just like, if somebody were thinking of actually getting started with locums, okay? What are three things you want to like just let them know upfront before they start?
So a lot of people think of locums as being unstable, being afraid to go into it because it's like, what if I don't get any shifts or what if I don't schedule for a month? With a proper strategy, which is what I help with my boss life coaching program, is creating stability in locum. There is not Last year there was not one month where I worried about making my quota for shifts in a month. And even if I didn't work a full 8 to 10 in a month, I made it up in another month.
Mm.
So just coming into it with getting rid of that scarcity mindset that, you're gonna starve. Like, you a doctor, you're not gonna starve. Okay. You're gonna get your money, especially with bonus shifts that come up, people who cancel last minute, you'll make your money. So you have to be willing to take a risk and to step out on faith and just know that, you'll get the money. The money is there. So
Mm,
don't let that be a hindrance to moving forward. I would say the second thing is thinking outside, being able to think outside the box. As doctors, we're pretty much conditioned to believe that we have to, get a job and stay there for, 15, 20 years and retire in one place. We all know that that's rarely the case these days, especially the way that groups change, and it's just not realistic in this current climate. And so you have to be able to figure out how to hunt your own kill
mm,
and be comfortable with that. So thinking outside the box and changing your mindset from being my therapist say zoo fed into being able to go out and get your own.
mm,
It's a big, there's some mind blocks to get over, because even in the year and a half that I spent as a full-time employee, I still struggled to be able to walk away from that job and to do locums, even though I had been successful at it before. So
mm.
there's a lot of mind blocks that you have to get over. And that's something else that I help with in my coaching program. I would say the last thing would be, there, when you think about locums and the historical, I'm gonna say stereotypes, I think coming into I think post pandemic, when we realized that, we were expendable, we have to
Mm.
figure out how to protect ourselves and protect our mental health and prioritize our families and think differently than some of the older attendees that trained us. Like, it's all about prioritizing what's important in your life, and these jobs don't care about us. And so don't be afraid to ask for the money, and don't be afraid to take time for yourself if that's needed. And that's what locums is able to help you accomplish.
Amazing, amazing. Now, Doc, how do people find you?
So I don't know if I got my freebie in there, but
I
I'm
can
on
post it.
okay, wonderful. So I'm on
Perks of
Instagram.
2 weeks ago.
I host a podcast, the Locums Lounge, and some of the mindset things that I went through as a resident, as a full-time employee, transitioning into locums. I talk about some of those things on the podcast. You can find that anywhere you listen to podcasts. I'm on Instagram, Locums Lounge, and I have a freebie, red flags to look at when you're choosing a recruiter. And you can join my mailing list from there and stay in touch. And if interested in talking about how we can strategize to get you started in locums, I also have a way that you can schedule a call with me, and we can go through that and look at your individual situation and how we can make it work for you.
I told you it was going to be good. I told you it was going to be good. Now, if you're listening to this and you're like, man, I think I would like to consider locums, I'm going to leave some links down below that you could definitely check out. Okay. And while you're down there, you might as well check out our other resources, both for us as well as our affiliates. And then, of course, if you're a female physician, you might as well come join us in the party. Come on in to join us in Women Physicians for Multiple Streams of Income Facebook groups. We have other Facebook groups if you don't fit into that particular category, but we just love to have you as a part of our community. Feel free to grab any of our resources below. Feel free to subscribe, share with a friend, because friends don't let friends miss out. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next one.